Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and I am going to have a go for it because there seems to be a break in the workman's noises outside and in the flat behind me. So let's hope this video goes okay, and if not, I may have ruined my chance of doing what has been a highly recommended puzzle. Now, there's a lot of rules. I'll go through them in a moment. First of all, I do want to alert you to the fact that on Discord, Marge is back on the hunt. There's a bit more information today, which is great for those people following along there, or indeed helping her get through the puzzles that it seems her grandfather has left her. Now, also on Patreon, today my today I think my crossword solve of the Times Monthly Club Special, the absolutely monstrous crossword with incredibly arcane vocabulary that the Times publish for its club members, a cryptic to beat all the other cryptics effectively. That's on Patreon for those three, probably for everybody on Patreon actually. Now, that said, and also the new merch that is available on the link in the description field proved very popular yesterday when we started trailing it, so do have a look at that. Some quite entertaining slogans and logos now that you'll recognize from the channel. Right, now this has been recommended hard by the Discord people. Consecutive Rings by Quinlux. Normally, if a puzzle had this many rules and they made the type this small on the interface, I'm not sure we would plan to feature it. But as I say, this has proved very popular. It's not that it's got many rules, it's just that you have to be a bit careful with them, I think. So, normal Sudoku rules apply. There are 3 rings in the grid. So, this or increasingly larger squares. So this is one of them. There's obviously one outside that and one inside it. So those are the 3 rings we're talking about. We're not talking about the 3 Elven rings this time. And along these rings, digits must touch at least one other consecutive digit on the ring, except in the breaks of the ring where there is no line, where digits must not touch another digit consecutively on its ring. So every pair of these connected, but no, that's not true. Each digit on a yellow line must touch on the same yellow line a consecutive digit. But I mean, for instance, we could have 1, 2 here and 9, 8 here in some order, I would say. But this cell, so row 1, column 4, which is not on the line, cannot consecutively touch either of those. These rules don't apply across rings to cells on different rings that touch each other. So we have to consider, I think, these 3 rings entirely separately. The outside one, the middle of them, and the inside one. And we have to obey this rule. There's no given digits. We do have 8 black Kropki dots, which indicate ratios of 1 to 2. There's no negative constraint. Not all possible black dots are given. And as I say, this has proved incredibly popular on Discord. So maybe a very entertaining solve. Do give it a go on the link below the video. But if you want to just follow along my live solve, hopefully uninterrupted, guys, we shall see how this goes. It may be that if drilling or something starts, I will pause and come back, which would be really annoying for me as well as you. So anyway, let's have a go at this puzzle and let's get cracking. Right, we've got a double black Kropki dot here. So this is 2 or 4. That is the interesting information. Now, the point of that is that where you get these black Kropki dots, if you get a run of 3 cells in a row that have to be different, they have to come from 1, 2, 4, 8. That is the only sequence that involves 3 consecutive numbers. The other possibilities on black Kropki dots are 3 and 6. 5, 7, and 9 can never appear on black Kropki dots in any of these cells. So we know that none of these cells will be 5, 7, or 9. They must all be pairs of 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 8, or 3, 6. And what that means for a run of 3 is it's either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8. Does that mean this is a 3-6 pair? No, not necessarily, because that could share a digit. It could be the same digit in one of those two as that one. So no, it doesn't. So this is just a tiny bit of information so far. I need to be a bit cleverer. How? If that went 1, 2, 4. Okay. So it couldn't. If this was 2, 4, that would have to be a 3, 6. Because 2 and 4 have been used up. Then this would be 1 or 8, one of the extreme numbers. That would be 2 or 4, one of the middle numbers. That's quite possible. But if this was 2 or 4, that would have to be 3, 6. If this was 1 or 8, however, then I think this doesn't have to be 3, 6. You could have 1, 2, then this would be 4, 8. Then this would be 3, 6, because you'd have used all 4, 1, 2, 4, 8 numbers here. So one of these two black dots contains a 3, 6 pair. I just feel it's very hard to use these because they can just come in little pairs. I suppose that has to be consecutive with this number because that's on the end of a line. So that has to be consecutive with this number. Oh, maybe these two have to be consecutive because they're on the end of a line. Is that true? Yeah, I mean, there's no exemption for this cell because it's on a black dot for not obeying the yellow line rule. So it has to be consecutive with that. So they have to be 1 and 2, which are the only two consecutive pairs that obey the black crop key dot rule. So this can't be a 1, 2 pair now, or it would break that cell. Same for that one. So 3 and 6 must be involved, and and either 4 or 8 must be involved up here. So that is a 3, 6 pair. This could go 2, 4, 8 or 8, 4, 2. This can't be a 2, 1 pair again because it would break that cell. So it's either a 2, 4 or a 2, 8 pair. 2, 4, 8. Can it go 4, 2, 1? Yes, then we'd have 1, 2 down here. But one of these is a 4. This one is a consecutive number to 3 or 6. So it's either 2, 4, 5 or 7, but it's not a 4 because that must be up there somewhere. 1. Interestingly, I don't think it can be a 2 either, because that would put 1 here and 2 here, and 8, 4 here and 2 here as well, which is currently actually possible. I don't even know what that is. 2, 4, 2, 1. I think they're all potentially possible at the moment. Actually, no, this can't be a 4 because there must be a 4 in that pair. That's about all. Right, sorry. So this can't be a 4, and can it be a 2? No, we worked out it can't be a 2. That's what I did. So it's 5 or 7. It can't be 2 or 4. So now we know this is 6, and that's 3. And that 3 has to be next to a consecutive digit. So this isn't 8, and this is a 2, 4 pair now. I mean, you may well have gone about the start of this puzzle in a totally different way, and that is absolutely fine. But this is the way I've begun it. Now, those two are consecutive. Those two are definitely not consecutive because they're 2 and 4. So that has to be consecutive with that. So they're a 2, 1 pair. And that's 4. Still don't know whether that's 5 or 7, but we've got a start now. Now, this could be 3, 6. I don't see how I know whether that's 3, 6 or 4, 8 yet. This one will be the other, but actually this could be a 1 or a 2 still. Well, it can't be a 1 because it would it would have a 2 either end of it. That would have to touch that number. That has to be consecutive with that number. The ends are definitely the most powerful points in this puzzle because they have to be consecutive with the following number. I don't know. This is 3, 4, or 6 because it's on a black dot. It can't be 8 because that would need a 4 here, which would clash with that. So it's 3, 4, or 6, but that means this can be 2, 3, 6, or 8. And I don't feel like I'm much further forward at this point. Right, these two are not consecutive. This can't be consecutive with the 1 because it can't be 2. So those two have to be consecutive. But so do those two because this can't be consecutive with that. And this has to be consecutive with something. So this is a run of 3. So do we know what it is then? It can't involve 2 numbers from 3, 4, 6, and 8. Oh, it can involve 1 there. It can't involve... No, it can't involve 2 more. That's not saying anything. 3, 4, 5 with 6 here. That leaves no fill there. So this is not a 3. And therefore that's not a 6. Can it be 4, 5, 6 with 8 there, 3 there, 6 there? Yes, it can. It can't go 4, 3, 2. Can it go 6, 5, 4 with 3 there? No, because that would use up all the possibilities for that in the row. Can it go 6, 7, 8? I expect it can. 3, 4, yes. And 8, 7, 6 is the other alternative with 4 there. And that's not possible, actually. 8, 7, 6 with 4 there. Oh, yes, it is. 3, 6. Yes, that's all right. Okay, so I reckon we've got this. But that gives us a 3, 4, 6, 8 quadruple. Everything else in row 2 is 5, 7, or 9 in a little triple. This has to touch that 5, 7, or 9, so it's definitely even, and it sees 4, so it's 6 or 8. Oh, maybe there's... here comes the drilling. Let's hope that you can still hear me with this. Right, that is a sawing, I think that is. Anyway, 4, 6, or 8 here. These... Oh, no, that's not necessarily true, because this could be consecutive with that. Right, the noise is putting me off my game already. This has to be consecutive to that, and it can't be 3, but there's a lot of possibilities. 5, 7, 9, 4, 2, 1. I mean, I'm not filling those in as candidates at the moment. All of those black dots, apart from this one, are all in this central ring. That's really not the best of help. Oh, I'm just remembering the rule about these cells. This can't be consecutive. Well, it already can't be consecutive to 1. I guess, well, it can't be an 8 if that's a 7. That's not actually very useful. This can't be a 7, but that's not very helpful either. Right, how do we move on from here? This is an unusual puzzle. There's no real maths. There's just considering possibilities, I think. That really seems to be how you have to go about it. I mean, I suppose you could say that's what all Sudoku is, but it seems unusual in some ways. Now, this pair, it's going to be easier to deduce once we know what that pair is. So these are a run of 3. Either 4, 5, 6 or 6, 7, 8. So these are 4 and 3. Oh yes, did we work out those two are not consecutive? Therefore, that has to be consecutive with that, of course. So this can't be 8 and this can't be 6. That's a 3, 4 pair. Sorry that took so long. So this is a 6, 8 pair. They must have 7 in the middle. because it's a run of 3. We've worked that out. That doesn't resolve this. 3 or 4 there, so this is either 6, well it can't be 3. Still some possibilities. This is odd, but I don't know whether it's 1, 5, 7 or 9, but I am filling in the candidates now. 3, 4 pair there, 4 there. One of these is a 4. Now what? So that's, they're consecutive, that's a run of 3, they're consecutive, they're consecutive, they're consecutive. So that's how that one works. It's kind of fully, well, we know the relations, the consecutiveness, so they're consecutive. These two have to be consecutive without 6, 7 or 8, so therefore without 9. It's not very helpful. 1, 2, 4. Oh, this pair. Well, I mean, they're from 1 to. Oh, they don't have to be consecutive, because that could be consecutive to that. It's tempting to assume there'll be 1, 2. Look, by regular Sudoku. By regular Sudoku, 1 and 2 are both in this group of cells. What on earth does that mean? Does that mean this has to be a 1, 2 pair? Suppose it could go 1, 2, 4 still. It means either 1 or 2 is on this. So that has to be from 1, 2 and 4. I don't know, I just don't think it's obvious. If it's obvious to you, congratulations. It's not obvious to me if that has to be a 1, 2 pair. 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, 8 and 9 to go. 5, 7, 8 or 9 there. So this can't be a 3, for instance. This can't be a 3 either, actually, because it could never be consecutive with either of those. So 3 is in one of those 2 cells, which is probably not helpful, but it's in there, so it's in one of these. I don't know if that gets anything done. 8, 9, 2, 4, 3, 6, 1. I find this very tricky to understand how to proceed with. That is 3, 4, 6 or 8. Those are the only possibilities, given that 1 and 2 are now definitely there. This must join to that, so it could be 2, 3, 4, 6 or 8. Unfortunately, that, although it has to be consecutive to that, still leaves almost every number possible. Probably every number. Doesn't rule anything out. Since these can't be 1 or 2, that needs to be consecutive to this. But again, I don't think that's the right place to look at all. Sorry, I've just noticed the more complex 3 being up there. 4 is also up there as well. So it's quite likely 3 and 4 are there, but it's not certain. I think that makes it certain. Does it? That this has to be 3 or 4? No, actually it makes it certain that this one is, and I'll tell you why. Because those two can't be 3 and 4, or they're breaking the rule about non-consecutiveness with the blank cells in the rings. That's weird. So, since we have to fit 2 3 or 4s in these 3 cells, and 1 only can go in those 2, there must be 1 here. Now, this has to be consecutive with that. So it's 2, 3, 4 or 5. It's probably 3 or 4, but I cannot prove it. 6, 7, 8. Oh, goodness. How do you go about this puzzle? That's almost a quintuple, if... No, it's not at all, really. There's the drilling now. I hope that's not... It's not as loud as it sometimes is, thank goodness. I think they're on a different wall, so I will continue. Now, those are consecutive. Those are consecutive. But it doesn't mean this is a run of 3. Although, actually, whether that goes 6-5, you can't have a 4 there, or a 6. If it goes 8-9, you can't have an 8 there. So that is going to have to be consecutive to that. And they can't use 3 or 4. So either this is a run of 3 or this is a run of 3, because that has to be consecutive to something. And we know that's a consecutive pair and that's a consecutive pair. If this was 6-5, we'd have 6-5-3-4 used up. I can't see how to use that. 6-7-8 there. No. Oh boy. Those two? I can't even say that that's not a 3. Because although 2 and 4 are quite likely to be used there, that could still be a 4. It's close to being able to say that's not a 3. If that was a 3, this would have to be 2 or 4 to be consecutive with it. This would have to join to that with the consecutive relationship. 6 or 8 here. But that's far from a problem. That works fine with the 6-8 possibilities in rows 2 and 3. So no traction there. I mean, I keep saying it. This is a very hard puzzle to get to grips with in terms of just even understanding how to go about it. The central square is obviously just going to be filled at the end. Absolutely no use at all. This gap doesn't look useful. Especially not when any digit is possible in this cell at the moment. Seven, 6, 8. If that was 4, we'd have a 3 here. 4, 2, 3. 6, 7, 8. 1, 5, 9 can't be here because there are no consecutive digits. So this can't be a 4. Does that work with 3 being here? Then you'd have 4 here, 5 here. 3, 5, 4, 6, 7, 8. Those could be 1, 2 in that case. Have a 9 here, 6, 8, 4. Yeah, I can't conclude that. But I have reduced 4 to one of these two cells. So this can't be a 2 anymore. If that was 5, 4, 6, 7, 8, this would involve a 2. If instead it's 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, yes, there must be a 2 on this pair of cells. They have to be consecutive because they involve an end. They can't use 4, 6, 7, or 8, and therefore the even digit on them is a 2. And now that's not a 2. This is a 6-8 pair. There's a 6-8 pair here. 6 and 8 must be in these 3 cells. And they can't be in both of those, or they would be, that would have no consecutive neighbor there. So this is 6 or 8, which kind of explains how it hooks up with that one. Yeah, that doesn't tell me what's in there. But we've got a 2 here, Ah, and not a 3, because 3 is in one of those cells in the row. So that is a 1-2 pair. Oh, well, that's a conclusion. Now, there's a 1 up here somewhere. So there's got to be a 2 next to it as well. That means the middle cell must be one of that 1-2 pair. This is 5, 7, or 9, because that's all that's left in the box. So this is even. 4, 6, or 8 has to join on to that one with the relationship. These short lines are definitely the most helpful ones. I suppose that's the only 4-cell one there is, but I've only just cottoned on to quite how useful it is. Right, 1, 2, 6, 8, 7. 3 and 4 are up there. This is either 5 or 9. That's all that's going to be left. Now, if it's a 9, I suppose, yeah, that could be 3 and 5 in some order, which won't violate the rule with 4 there. So if it's a 9, that's a 4. If it's a 5, that's a 9. 9 is definitely in one of those 2 cells. I mean, that's obvious from the pencil marking and not very helpful. One, 2, 6, 8, 3, 5, 7, and 9 are all possible in these cells. Ah, well, that's interesting here because it can't be even. It's seeing 2, 4, 6, and 8 in the row. Now, that means it's odd, and it therefore isn't consecutive with this one. So it must be consecutive with this one, which must be even. So we can rule 1 out of there. And it has to be consecutive with 2 or 4. It's not 1, so it is 3 or 5. If it's 3, it could be either. If it's 5, that has to be 4. If it's 5, that's 9, 8, 7, 6, 3. Then you'd have 8, 7, 6 up here. That would make that 7. It's all working fine. This one is also odd. 3, 5, 7, or 9. I don't think it's as constrained as that at all. But that makes this one even. And we know that 2's over here, 6 is here, so it has to be 4 or 8. Now I know where 3 of the even cells are in this row. Not useful. If this was 4, that would be 2, 1 there. Ah, and this has to join on to that, doesn't it? And these are... No, we don't know that these are joined. They could be 2, 4, in which case it's easy to join onto that. But if they're 1, 2, this is the 1. I mean, I think I've worked that out. Then it would have to go 1, 2, 3. Is there any problem with that? I'm sorry this is so slow, but I find this very tricky to get through. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8. This is 3, 4, 5, or 9, but it's not 4. Because it would be consecutive with that, and it's not allowed to be. Now that can't rule anything specifically out of here. Oh, come on, Mark. Think about this. Right, if that was a 1... If that was a 1... We worked out this couldn't be a 3-cell sequence, so that if that's a 1, the 2 would have to be here. Then this would be a 3-cell sequence of 5 here, 4, 3. But that could be a 2. Ah, it can't... If it's a 2... If I just work that out, if this is a 1, that's a 2. And if this is a 2, I think the 1 has to be here. Because otherwise you get 1, 2, and that can't be 3 because 3 is down there. So I think this is a 1, 2 pair in the corner. Let me just, it's definitely true. If that's a 2, 1 has to be there. If that's a 1, can that be 2? No, because there's no cell you can put in the corner. Right. So it's a 1, 2 pair in the corner. That's, sorry, I'm trying to take out the pencil marks. There we go. Let's do it out of there as well. That's a 1, 2 pair, 3, 4 pair, 6, 8 pair, 5, 9, and 7 everywhere else. Right, how can this join on to this? By being 5 and 4, and that feels like a final breakthrough. And my sincere apologies if you've had a much better breakthrough than that. This can't be 8 now, because it would be touching the 9. That 9 has made this one a 5. That is also in a sort of touch. Oh no, that makes that a 3. This is now either 7 or 9, and therefore this is an 8. 3 will join onto that. This has to join onto that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we've got to fit 9 and 5 into this box. So that's 9 and 5. That's become a 9. That makes this an 8. That makes this a 6. 3, 4, 8, 6. That's a 7. It's all it can be now. That does... Ah, yes, this is now seeing a 4 and an 8. So that's... Well, it couldn't have been 4. Once that was 7. This is 5 or 7 to join on to the 6. Ah, these are not 3 and 6, so they include a 4. Well, let's carry on up here. I've got 6, 7, and 8 to fill in here, and that can't be 9 or 5 now. Do they have to be... This 5 has to join on to something, so that's 6. Then 8 and 7 are decided by Sudoku. 7, 1, 9, 8, 2. 3 and 6 down here by Sudoku. 5 and 4 here, which is a perfectly happy consecutive pair, but makes this one a 7. Now we've got 1, 2, 9, so it's got to go... That 3 has to join to something. 2, 1, 9. 4, 7, 8 down here, but the 9 has to join onto something. So 8. This can't be a 4 with a 7 there, because the 7 wouldn't be joined to anything. So it's 7, 4, and that must join to 5. Now, this number is a 9, which is fine for the gap rule. 3 and 6 there, I can't deal with them. That's not 8 anymore. Finally, some progress. 5 boxes nearly filled. That's and almost nothing in the others. This can't be a 7, so it's 1, 4, or 5 now. This has to... No, doesn't necessarily have to join on to 3 or 6, because that could be part of a run. As could this. This is 1, 2, 6, 8, or 9 by Sudoku, and has to join to this, which is 1, 2, 3, 7, or 8. That is not helpful. Well, I can't see how it is. This is 1, 2, 3, or 8, and it's on the end of a line, so it has to join to 1, 2, or 3 here. So that's not 8. That's a pair. They must involve a 2. So that's 3, 8, or 9. 2, 1. That's 3, 8, or 9. But this one could be a 1. I have a feeling it can't be a 1, but I can't prove that. 1 there would put a 2 here. 4, 8, 3, 9. No, I can't prove that. Right, now where do I need something to consecutive digits? Where are they going to help next? 6 and 6. One of these is a 6. I don't see how that helps at all. 9 there. Doesn't quite put a 9 there because that can be 9. Right, this has to join to 2 or 4 because now they can't be consecutive. And it's not 3, so it's 1 or 5. Can that be 9? If not, 9 is there in column 8. If that was 9, 8 would have to be next to it in one of these cells. You'd have 3, 4, 2. 1, 1, 2. Ah! Oh, just possible. The curse. Right, 6 is in one of those 2 cells. I don't know why I'm filling in numbers in the central box. I'm never going to be able to use them till the end. I strongly believe that. This is 3, 4, 5, or 6, but I don't know which cell it has to be consecutive with. This is consecutive to that. So one of these groups is a run of 3, either 4, 5, 6 that way, or I suppose 8, 7, 6, or 1, 2, 3. That doesn't seem helpful. I really hope there's not some totally different way of attacking this, because if there is, this has been the most long-winded video in history. Can this be 1? Then you'd have 2, 4, 8. Ah, this can't be a 1, 2 pair because of that cell. There you go. So that's a 5, 4 pair. That makes this 8. That has to join to this cell, so that's a 9. Right, so the 9 in column 8 is now definitely here. That's become a 7. This is 1 or 2, and this has to join to it. So it has to be 1, 2, or 3, giving me a triple here and making this 8. One of those is a 2, so that one isn't. So that one is, because one of these 2 is a 2. 6, 8, 2, 7, 9, 5. So we've got 1, 3, and 4, and 2 of them are consecutive. That's the 3 and 4. 1 is there. Ah, the 4, 5 pair has been resolved, so the 3, 4 pair can be resolved. The 1, 2 pair has been resolved now. 5, 6, 7 down here. They have to all be in a run because they can't join up with those. So 6 in the middle, 7 there, 5 there. I still don't know here, but they involve a 2 in those, so we can forget any of 1, 2, and 3 here because they're just not involved anymore. And indeed, this one can't be a 7 either, so it is an 8. That must join to a 9. This has become a 6. We get a 3 here. That fixes this 1, 2, 3. We've just got 2 boxes left to do. 1, 2, 1 on the end of that. Now, 3, 4, and 5 here. Let's get suckered into thinking that has to be a run of 3, because it could actually go 3 joining onto the 2. Oh, 5, 4 would clash with the 4. So it is a run of 3. So 4 is there. In fact, 3 must be there and 5 there. So we do get a run of 5 digits. 2, 7, and 6 here. None of them have to join. Oh, 2 has to join on to something, and that can't be a 2. So 2 goes there. 6 and 7 we can resolve. And now it is just the final box. And surely they must all be write-ins. Every single one of these has to be a naked single now, which is a great pleasure at the end of a long journey. That really was an entertaining puzzle. I mean, very unusual, very different from anything we normally do in ways I wasn't expecting. Nice puzzle by Quinn Lux, who we featured regularly since he began, actually, and very accomplished constructor he is. So thank you very much for following. I hope those of you who felt shortchanged by the timings yesterday will feel they got more of their money's worth today. But delighted that you've stuck along with it, and thank you for watching. Thank you, as always, for everything you do to support the channel. We are incredibly grateful to our fans, to the people who follow us for some reason. Thank you. And I'll see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.